Today, on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. In the detailing bay at MCU, Robbie aims to bring a lackluster hull back to life.
Now this thing was heavily oxidized. You couldn't even hardly tell it was green. I'm not sure if it'll come back, but I'm gonna give it my best shot.
Brian and the paint crew at MCU begin the daunting task of sanding and fairing on the 18-foot Boston Whaler project, with spraying color in their sights.
There's going to be a lot more body work and filling than I thought there was going to be. So I've talked to Mike about it. I'm going to try to light the fire under his boat and get this thing rolling because I need this boat in primer and in paint.
And FS Boating editor George LaBonte heads out with John Rastrelli, owner of a 35-foot Sportfish, to discuss how he custom designed the boat for solo offshore fishing.
Oh my goodness. This is something right here, I'm telling you. You don't see this every day at the boat ramp.
All coming up on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat.
All right, we're gonna have a busy week this week here at the shop, but I just had a real good loyal customer call me back telling me that it's time to get his boat ready for season. He's been bringing his boat to me for the last 10 years. I've been telling him he needs a paint job. Every year, Robbie ends up buffing his boat. It comes out so nice that when it leaves here, he tells me, why am I gonna paint it? It looks awesome, it looks brand new. Yeah, but in 10 months, I've gotta do it all over again. But if there's enough gel coat on this boat, it's gonna allow me to keep buffing it. I guess that's what we're gonna end up doing. So I need to get Robbie in this boat, get it all detailed out and get it prepped and ready so he can take this thing lobstering.
Today's adventure, Brian's buddy, regular customer of ours, brought his dark green Oceanic into the shop to get detailed. Now this thing was heavily oxidized. You couldn't even hardly tell it was green. I start off with a fiberglass reconditioner and I apply it with a brush, usually around 2x2 sections to keep it small and manageable because working for Brian, I could be called off at any time, so I don't want to leave a bunch of wax baking on the side of the boat. I'm using my rotary buffer with a wool pad. The trick is to apply a lot of pressure and go side to side and up to down. Can't just grab the buffer and just run it along the boat and expect it to do anything. You actually have to put a little elbow grease into it and apply a lot of pressure so it'll help cut into that oxidation a lot better than just riding the side of the boat. You actually have to push. You start looking for the shine to come back and you work the compound until there's no residue left, so you don't have a lot of cleanup later. So I like to try to clean as I go so you can really see what you're doing and see the end result before you apply the wax. So if you can see your reflection, you know you're going the right direction. The wool pad does collect the compound. If you don't keep a clean pad, then you'll start getting the chatter effect where you're pushing and it'll seem like the buffer's just jumping down the side of the boat. You're not really getting a clean, smooth finish. Yeah, well, I got down on one side and I had another project coming up real soon, so I had to have my rookie helper jump in and give me a hand. And hopefully, the customer shows up on the delivery date this time.
So while I've got Robbie working on that Oceanic for my buddy Jimmy, getting all that green to come out like new again, I realized the Whaler went in the paint shop without having a lid for the top of the cooler seat that we made. So I need to get Roberto on this cooler lid and get that thing wrapped up.
We're gonna have to make a cooler lid, which we don't have that one, so we're gonna have to make it from scratch. First of all, I'm gonna have to make like a template, the dimension of the hatch, the size that I'm gonna need. I'm gonna transfer that into the table, and then I'm gonna have to cut pieces of starboard. That's gonna be my knockout to make the perimeter around the hatch. Once I glue all my starboard to the table, then I gotta make radiuses for the hatch. I do that by using clay, and the radius I make it with, depends on what size radius, I use a drill bit. Once I finish with the clay, I gotta wax it. The reason we put wax is so when we ready to pull the part from the table, they don't stick together. So once we got a wax, we prep some gel coat, polyester gel coat, and then we brush the part. Once that is done, it's ready for glass. The first lamination we use is matte, and the next two lamination is gonna be 1708. Since this lid is gonna be part of the cooler, we're gonna have to use thick foam too. So we use the same foam that we use to make the cooler. We bond it in place, and then we glass on top of the foam. So we wait until everything is dry and ready to pull it out. And to pull it out, we use a wedge to pop the part from the table. So while we pop it out, we trim it and fit it into the seat and make sure it fits with the hinges and everything fine.
All right, just as I thought, Robbie killed it. The Oceanic came out like a brand new boat again. I'm never gonna be able to talk Jimmy into painting this boat if Robbie just keeps buffing it out and it comes out so nice. I don't know how many years we can go though. The gel coat's only so thick, but this boat looks brand new. So Roberto had to fix that lid in a hurry because the guys were in the shop getting ready for paint work on the Whaler. So now that Roberto wrapped up that lid so fast, I can get this boat over into body work and Mike can start getting it prepped for primer.
When we come back, the paint and body crew at MCU begin the rigorous task of fairing and sanding on the 18-foot Boston Whaler project. This segment brought to you by Power Pole. Swift, silent, secure. Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us as the paint and body crew strives for perfection on the 18-foot Boston Whaler project.
All right, so now that Roberto's got the 18 Whaler all wrapped up with the glass repairs and modifications, it's time for the paint crew to get started. There's a lot of variations in the floor of this Whaler, and after we've glassed the deck down and we've made everything one piece, instead of having all the molded joint areas, there's gonna be a lot more body work and filling than I thought there was gonna be. So I've talked to Mike about it. He said he's gonna need a little more time than I expected. I'm gonna try to light the fire under his butt and get this thing rolling because I need this boat in primer and in paint. Steve's gotta get this thing rigged. Michelle's waiting to get this boat in the water for summer.
So we're back at it again. Fiberglass shop, finished up on the Whaler. We've got an extensive amount of body work. We started off by blocking out all of the glass work that was done, making sure there's no highs. Our next step, we went ahead and put all fair on. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, but that's basically your starter point for fairing. When applying the all fair, you really have to balance it out from not enough to too much. You can never put too much all fair on, but you're gonna create a lot of headaches and a lot of unnecessary sanding and waste of material and money by putting too much on. So you really need to find the balance of that perfect medium in between too much and not enough. And we used a lot of different types of tools, air files, blocks, sanders. Everything over the years, we kind of tweaked it and made our own if we didn't have one we could buy to fit into all the little areas. The biggest part with doing that is you're trying to get it as flat and perfect as possible before you go into the primer stages. Well, a couple of the guys from the paint crew were on the inside. I was on the outside. I noticed a couple areas that if you didn't address them, at the end of the day when the paint job is completely done, you're gonna start seeing them come right through a brand new paint job. And it's stuff that I just really wanted to take care of to make the paint job look as good as it possibly could. Instead of spending hours upon hours trying to get the all fair absolutely perfect, I decided to go on this boat with an ultra high build. It's a thicker material, but when it's all said and done, it'll fill those lows and those little divots in that you just would spend way too much time on the all fair with. The one thing we ran into with using the ultra high build is you really gotta make sure you have the right gun. If you're dialed in too close to a light primer gun, you're not gonna put the material on. With this primer, it's a very thick primer, so you need a bigger gun to be able to actually apply the material properly. This product's been around for a while, but it was the first time I used it. I was actually very pleased with the results that I got out of it. We didn't have to waste the time of trying to find every single little hole. We were able to spray this material on and it filled a lot of the little stuff in that we would have normally had to go back and fill after we got done sanding the primers.
When we return, FS Boating editor George LaBonte joins Dreamboat owner John Rastrelli aboard his custom-built Sportfish in this week's One Man's Dreamboat segment. This segment brought to you by Bennett Marine, superior by design.
50 years ago, Bennett Marine changed boating forever, inventing the trim tab, getting you on plane faster, improving fuel efficiency and performance, balancing loads. Today, more than 1 million systems later worldwide, boats all sizes. Bennett Innovation, durable and dependable trim tabs and hatch lifters. Your only source for both hydraulic and electric systems. Bennett Trim Tabs, superior by design, legendary service. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us for this week's One Man's Dreamboat segment with Florida Sportsman Boating editor George LaBonte as we feature anglers who have already launched their dream. Florida Sportsman began these features 30 years ago, and the dreams just keep getting better.
This week we're going to have a look at a boat that I'm unfamiliar with. The 35-foot Montauk hull that John Rastrelli has had completely customized on the top. 35-foot twin diesel Sportfish boat that's on a trailer. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this works out. George LaBonte.
Hey,
how are you?
Fine, pleased to meet you.
What doesn't fit in this picture right here?
A big boat on a big trailer.
Oh my goodness. This is something right here, I'm telling you. You don't see this every day at the boat ramp. John built this boat to run single-handedly and launch single-handedly, and although I offered to help him at the ramp, he declined. Clearly, he had it under control. All right, John, that was pretty painless, man. You did a great job getting her off the dock yourself here, or in the water and off the dock yourself. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this boat? I think this is going to be an interesting story for me, and I'm unfamiliar with this hull. What kind of hull is it, actually?
Well, originally, it was a 35 Montauk. No engines, interior was all tore up. It was pretty raw.
Right. So you diving on the boat, you do a little tuna fishing on the boat, you do some bottom fishing.
Yep.
But the next thing is, you also want a boat you can keep behind your house.
Yep.
So why this? I mean, you had to do some creative thinking to make, this boat into a trailer boat. The thought that that was unrealistic ever occur to you?
Kind of, but it really didn't.
But you're not afraid of a challenge?
That's exactly right. I'm not afraid of a challenge. So I compared the weight of this boat when it was done to the load capacity of the trailer that he had.
What, close to 20,000 pounds,
yeah,
right?
about 19,000 pounds fully loaded. Our first fit, the only modification we had to do was raise the bumps a ½ inch. And it was bingo after that.
That's pretty remarkable. Well, let's get offshore and see what you'll do. John elected to build a twin diesel boat, which is in my wheelhouse. I've grown up on them all my life. I've been running diesel sport fishing boats all my life. So when we set out of Stewart Inlet to go offshore for a day of fishing, I felt right at home. Well, all right, John, we're all set up here, man. It was pretty painless. Nice, easy little day. I mean, couldn't ask for better weather.
Beautiful out.
We're fishing right out in front of Stewart, Florida, where you live. Do you find yourself fishing right out front here a lot?
Pretty much once a week, and then I have my crossings during the summer.
So this boat gets a lot of use. I mean, you're not just saving it for summertime Bahama fishing. You're doing a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about how you typically go about taking on a day of fishing. I mean, we're live baiting right out front here, maybe try and catch a sailfish or a dolphin. If you're going to come offshore here and you're by yourself, what are you typically doing? And why does this boat here work really well for you in that respect?
I put this type of seat in so I have access to my controls, and the cockpit's right here. So
everything's wide open.
It's wide open. When we designed it, we also designed it for complete simplicity. You don't see any cushions or any woodwork. We have these two fish boxes right here, 2-inch insulation. They can be converted to have freezer liners put in there. And we have this pop-up center console system here, which was Brian's idea, which is nice. It goes up and down, so if it's really wet out, you can put that down below.
I love the bar stool here too.
Well, you want the comfortability, if this ain't cutting it, I have a bean bag down below.
Well, that's a little too comfortable. You fall asleep at the wheel. I mean, this thing lets you can sit, like you said, without a backrest and armrest. I mean, you can sit here, back up to it and be comfortable and get on your sticks here and get a bite. While John and I were discussing some of the details on the boat, we were interrupted by a bite, and I immediately got to appreciate the open design of this boat, having to run for a rod. Now, even though we didn't get to convert this bite into a fish, I could really appreciate the functionality of this design.
You know, when I originally got the boat, it only had one step down, which was located right here. So that had to be modified so that the whole area is a complete step down evenly. So we did that. It didn't have a live well, so we built the live well into the back of the transom. But you know, it's for a one-man fishing boat. It's ideal.
And I like that trunk cabin down in there. That cabin down there is very roomy.
It'll sleep 4 people in that cabin.
4 down below?
Yep, 2 up in the V.
Yep.
The bunk bed system there, 1 on each seat, and 1 here and 1 here. So comfortably, it's 6 people.
On a 35-footer, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Now, you went with the Yanmar Power. Tell me a little bit about your decision for that. You get great fuel economy, I know that, right?
Yeah, I get about 1.5 miles to the gallon.
Can't
and
argue
that's with
with
the generator running around 26, 27 miles an hour.
Did this boat end up becoming your actual dream boat? I mean, is it everything you thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah? You're happy?
I said this was my dream boat when I seen it sitting in that yard up in Jensen Beach.
You ought to be proud of yourself. You did a great job with her. I've got an hour or 2 to kill, and we have not put a fish on this thing yet. What do you say we wrap this up and just get down to the serious business of fishing?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Thanks so much for having me out here.
You're welcome, George.
Well, the fishing day started off slow, but I was able to get some redemption on missing that first bite. We found a school of dolphin, caught a few for dinner, and had a great day.
With an initial purchase price of $27,000 and $257,000 in repairs and custom modifications at Marine Customs Unlimited, the cost of John's Dreamboat comes to a total of $284,000. When we return, the paint crew at MCU adds a splash of color to the 18-foot Boston Whaler project. This segment brought to you by Fiberglass Florida. Premium products, wholesale prices.
Fiberglass Florida is a locally owned and operated company with locations in Rockledge and Stuart, Florida. Our knowledgeable staff will help you select from our diverse selection of fiberglass materials by the yard or by the roll. Epoxy, vinyl ester, and polyester resin, as well as high-density core materials. All grip paint in unlimited custom colors. Home to Open Water Concepts, a certified sea-deck fabricator specializing in fully customizable kits to suit your project needs. Fiberglass Florida. Premium products, wholesale prices.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us as the paint crew at MCU paints the boat inside and out, aiming for a yacht-quality finish on the 18-foot Boston Whaler project.
All right, now that we've got this boat all prepped and ready for the paint, I've got an awesome idea with the color scheme. It's gonna be really similar to the 32 Seacraft that we did. Michelle came in right as we were finishing that boat. We were doing some service work to it. She saw it, I saw a twinkle in her eye, and I think this is gonna be something awesome that I'm gonna present to her. I can't see her saying no.
All right, we're finally ready for paint. We've got the whole entire outside of the boat sanded. We're gonna be sticking with all grip material the whole way through. So we're gonna be using the All Prep wax and grease remover. Make sure we get any imperfections, any impurities off of the boat so you don't have a bad end result. Once again, we're going with a light color blue. Exactly the same color that Tyler Gorman used on his 32 Seacraft, blue tone white. I know we do a lot of the lighter blues, but this thing it's gonna look amazing when it's done. It's gonna give it that nice, clean, classic look. Now we're all prepped, we're ready for paint. We're gonna do 3 coats on this. The big reason I like to do the 3 coats is your first coat's a real light tack coat, so everything's still very transparent. The next coat you put it on a little thicker and you start to cover that up. And for the 3rd coat, when we lay it on, it covers everything completely and gives it a really nice depth and a nice shine. Now the outside of the boat's done, we're ready to paint the inside. With the inside though, you have a lot more nooks and crannies. That's a lot harder to do than just a flat surface. You really got to make sure everything is wiped and sanded, cleaned properly. Same stages that you go through with the outside, just a lot more intricate work being done on there. The biggest problem is making sure you're completely dust free, because the dust and any particles that are left over are just going to swirl around on the inside of the boat, and it's just going to give you an all-around dirty, bad paint job. While we're painting the inside of the boat, it's very tedious and very tight quartered. It's usually better to have a second person there to help hold the hose, kind of watch what you're doing, make sure that you're hitting all the areas, because you can lose sight of where you're at, you can fall into the paint, the airline can fall into the paint. I mean, there's a lot of problems that can happen really quick. So teamwork on this part of the project is definitely a must.
All right, so after we got the all grip laid on the hull of the boat and on the interior, it's time for the non-skid. So I had to have Michelle come by to go over the layout for all the new hardware that we're putting on. When I pulled the masking paper back on the boat, Michelle actually saw the color for the first time. She saw that color and it was over. Now that I've gone over all the details of where the hardware is going to go for the non-skid paint job, it's time for Mike to get in this thing and get it wrapped up.
All right, the boat's finally painted, dry, we're ready for non-skid. On this particular job, we're doing a gloss border around all the hardware. The most important part is to make sure that we have all the hardware out on the boat where it needs to be. If we don't, it's just going to look like an afterthought. With this non-skid, we're going to do a two-tone kind of effect. When laying down the fine line, it's very important to have straight lines. I really take pride in doing it, because when it's all said and done, you pull that fine line off, that's what makes or breaks the boat. If your lines are all messed up, or you don't have all the right radiuses on it, it's really going to show. You're going to see it from a mile away. And it's just not going to look like a professional or a yacht finished quality job. With the non-skid, you've got different variances of skid. You've got fine, coarse, extra coarse. I really like to take a 50-50 mixture. The coarse gives that nice stopping power, but the fine kind of fills it in. We're ready to spray the non-skid. The first coat goes down and make sure that everything's wet, there's no transparency, there's no imperfections of any kind. After that, you really want to make sure that you kind of pull the gun away from the body of the boat when you're spraying it. Try to give it an even layout. If you don't, you start getting a real tiger striped, and it just doesn't give it a nice quality finish. And on the third coat, I like to stand back a little farther and kind of broadcast it. Make sure that I get an even coat over the whole boat. Now that we're done spraying non-skid, I cannot wait to get the tape off of it. Yeah, we've got the boat painted and you can kind of see what it's looking like. But with that two-tone non-skid, when you pull it off, it really shows you exactly what it's going to look like. I cannot wait.
So just as I thought, they got the non-skid on there, they got the boat unpeeled. It looks beautiful. The two-tone effect is looking awesome. I can't wait till Steve starts rigging this boat. As soon as he puts its stainless down against that two-tone paint, this thing's really gonna pop. I can't wait to see Michelle's eye when the jewelry gets on the boat.
Next week on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat, the 18-foot Boston Whaler project starts to come together in the rigging bay at MCU. Florida Sportsman boating editor George LaBonte joins Ren Stanley on his one-off skiff for a day of flats fishing out of Everglades City. And Brian meets with Dave Osgood to discuss performing a complete restoration on his 20-foot Shamrock. The filming of Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat has been shot on location at Marine Customs Unlimited. You dream it, we build it.